Buhari ordered the suspension of Adama REC. Investigation of security bosses in charge of the Adama governorship polls. Samuel Oton says Buhari values cow more than human lives. These and many more we will be discussing this morning on the show. Good morning and welcome to Now Streaming program. I am your uncle Simon, and I have with me in the studio the Venerable Joseph Unwaya JP, the Director for Civic and Political Affairs of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion. Also with us is Comrade Habila Kayit. He is the Chief Executive Officer, Godspeed Leadership and Mentorship Development Initiative. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming to the studio this morning.
Thank you.
Viewers, we can join the conversation. You can join the conversation via the social media handles and via our phone lines displayed on your screen. Remember, it is a pleasure hearing from you. First, we will look at some select newspapers from some national dailies before we discuss some of the trending stories. So we are starting with the Vanguard, and it says Buhari okay suspension of Adama REC, prosecution if. Then INEC denies meeting with Adama government officials to rig polls. Above the masthead, fish farmers, CBN differs on access to Anchor Borrowers Fund. Judiciary created crisis in Labour Party. Director General, Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, Oshun Tepun. Then Idul Fitr, Buhari, Tinubu, Obi, NLC, others felicitate with Muslims call for unity. Sultan announced end of Ramadan fasting, declares Friday, Idul Fitr, which is today. All right, and below the picture, May 29 handover. Tinubu unveils 14-man committee. Military battle ready for trade against May 29 handover. Defense headquarters. And that is all from the Vanguard. We move to the first news. And beside the nameplate, Salah message, I am ready to work with Nigerians. Tinubu seek more patriotism. And the major headline says Adama Buhari approves REC's suspension, prosecution, other security chiefs probe. Direct IGP, DSS director, NSCDC boss to investigate their officers' role in aiding, abating REC conduct. This Nigeria, we have this headline that says Buhari autumn in verbal exchange over Benue killings, and it says governor accuses president's aide Garba Shehu of speaking for Fulani militia. Autumn failed governor rejected by his people. That will be seamless handover on May 29, Defense Headquarters. 105 terrorists surrender as troop kill 54, arrest 117 in 2 weeks. We are working to prevent flooding this year, newer boss, Mogalu assures. And finally, INEC on this paper, INEC denies partisanship in Adama supplementary poll. Buhari approves immediate suspension of REC. Pro Binani, Falana says. And the Punch is talking about Sudan conflict. It says 1,262 Nigerian students demand evacuation. 330 residents killed. Nigerian students fill forms for airlifting. Uganda, Tanzania rescue nationals. 3,200 injured as outstage food water scarcity hit Khartoum, says World Health Organization. So we have up to 1,262 students in Sudan.
Yes, Sudan.
All right, so let's start with the vanguard that I earlier mentioned. And of course, we have captured that at the beginning of this introduction. Buhari OK suspension of Adama Reg and prosecution if found guilty. Your thought on this, sir?
Good morning, viewers, and Barka de Sallah to our Muslim faithfuls. For me, I feel this is the best action that the president needed to take. Though while his aides were trying to defend his silence over the issue, I think he has been very bold to take this very action. You see, when we break law, and there is no sanction to whoever that breaks the law, it gives room for others to also continue doing what is wrong. So it's an appointee of the president. The president has taken the best step to, suspend him. And for the security agencies, the clarion call is just what we have been expecting over time. Because for some of us who have been very active as far as the conduct of elections are concerned, this is not new. It's not new that they have used security agencies over time to, shortchange, perceive enemies, or for people who have had the opportunity to, use government power to try to see how they can subdue the passive contestants. So people have used government power over time. They have used the security agencies. So I think we are going to get it right if the president stick to this very order.
All right, Venerable, if I can come to you now. First News has talked about Buhari approves the suspension, prosecution, and he has even gone ahead to order the security chiefs to probe those in charge of Adamawa governorship polls, because they were there when the reg stood up to make that announcement, and they were indifferent. They did nothing about it. So everyone is suspecting that they were collaborators to what the reg did, and the president has ordered that they should be probed. Your take on this, sir?
Well, I am not so much moved as an individual by some of these actions, because I'm a fighter for justice for all. And I don't believe in selective justice. As much as what the president has just done now is good, is right, is expected in a sane society, is expected. It's expected. So that's why I say I'm not so much moved. It's because things, we allow things to go under the carpet all the time in Nigeria. That is why when a thing like this is done, it is kind of celebrated. It is supposed to be normal routine. If you break the law catches up with you. It doesn't require the will, the personal will
of anybody.
Of anybody. You see, our structure, our system need to develop to the point where we don't depend on the personal will of one individual,
the president
whether Mr. President or governor or no. When you break the law catches up with you and tame you as an individual. So for me, why I use the word, I don't believe in selective justice. Since we concluded the general election or started the general election,
yes,
I can tell you there are so many people from the top down to the bottom in INEC, in government, important figures in the society, individuals who have made themselves demigods all over the country that are supposed to be arrested, are supposed to be behind the bar by now. See, what will make me to be celebrating this one when people like Oluomo in Lagos is roaming about in the street?
The court has sacked him from being the chairman of the park.
So has that solved the problem? So what will make me to be jubilating if a local government chairman that went with policemen to destroy ballot paper is there?
In the presence of everybody.
You don't need any other evidence.
And up to now, it's still moving free.
Up to now, it's still moving free. What will make me to be jumping up concerning this one when in my state so much of ballot papers were destroyed, ballot boxes burnt, and up to today I have not had the number, I'm not aware of the number of persons that have been arrested. That have been prosecuted.
Not at all.
For that. So this
Rivers State is also there.
Rivers State is there. Yeah. Imo State is there. And so many
nationwide problems.
So that's why, as much as the action is good, I would have preferred if there was a generalized statement to the police to say all those who committed one infraction or the other, all those who committed electoral violence and offended the Constitution during the 2023 general election, rake all of them in and begin to prosecute, investigate and prosecute the one that should be prosecuted. It should not just be
Adamawa
or just one appointee. No. So that is my concern, that the justice should be for all. Well, on that note, I want to join my brother to congratulate brothers and sisters in the country, those of the other faith, the Islamic faith, who are celebrating their Eid al-Fitr today. We congratulate all of them, and we encourage them that whatever lessons, moral lessons they have drawn throughout the month of Ramadan, throughout the fasting, they should bring it to bear in day-to-day life and relationship with their neighbors. We pray that the country becomes better for everyone.
Thank you so much for that. Moving on to the statement made by Otom. And this Nigeria captured it so well. It says Buhari, Otom in verbal exchange over Benue killing. And of course, from our opening introduction, Samuel Otom says Buhari values cows more than human lives. And just yesterday, day before yesterday, the Khan chairman of Zangon Katab local government, during the mass burial of the 33 persons, also made a similar comment. He said, had it been one cow was killed, army would have been everywhere ransacking in order to arrest and prosecute those who have done that. But so many people have been killed, including a less than 5-year-old that was beheaded. And up to today, nothing has happened. What is your take with the statement that has been made by Samuel Otom? Let me start with you, then I'll come back to you because you are from Kaduna, so you'll be able to tell us what is happening there.
Now, can you imagine a less than 5-year-old child being beheaded? Can you imagine that? What offense did that child commit apart from being a Nigerian? Apart from being a Nigerian. And I very much agree with whoever says Nigerians seem to value cows more than human beings now. I'm not just going to leave it at one person, the doorstep of one person. It's like we have no value for life now. How many person talks about this death, this mass burial that is being done everywhere in Nigeria when we are not in war, really? Who is talking about it? How many even newspapers carries this thing? Do you hear people talk so much about this on the radio?
No,
Do you hear people talk about this on the television? How many of the newsprint can you find these details? And it's happening. I can tell you, if not for social media, where people, every person is like a media house in itself. You at least where the mass burial is being done, you can use your phone to cover and it goes viral. If not, most of all these things are just swept under the carpet. Life just goes on. 50 persons will be killed. Look at out of Benue. Look at the number of killing. It's like, it is only God will help us to really unravel what is going on in this country. During election, or a few weeks before election, all this killing, everything just suddenly went down. But after election now, the killings have resumed fully. Then you begin to wonder what is really going on. What is responsible for that? If the people doing this killing don't have the support from some quarters, why is it that because election is to take place, this thing suddenly went down? And election is over now, the thing has resumed in full. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I fully believe that, or have come to accept the fact that Nigerians seem to not to value life. Those in government seem not to have regard for human life at all. Why should you be a governor? Why should you be a president and you are in power and these kind of things are happening under our nose? Now, has any governor resigned in Nigeria because of killings? I quite agree that
they're taking federal government to court even.
I quite agree that the security architecture of this country need to be looked into. That it needs to be decentralized so that governors will have full grip, full control of the security of their state. But I can also tell you, if these things are happening, if I was to be a governor and all these things are happening under my nose and I cannot control it, I will resign as a governor to let the people know that this cannot be happening under me and I have no control over it, and I begin to parade myself as the governor. So any governor that have not been able to take such a step, for me, something is wrong. Any person at the level of whether presidency or whichever level that cannot resign because of this, and they say, I'm doing this because I'm not in support of this kind of wanton killing and sharing of innocent blood going on in the country. Is it because they are not directly affected? Yeah, what I'm saying is that life has become so cheap in Nigeria. I can tell you, if actually in any community or in any town or in any city, wherever in Nigeria, people in the night come down and gone down 50 cows, it will make headlines.
Of course.
The police will be there, will be deployed. Soldiers will be deployed to begin to unravel who are the brave behind this thing. But human beings will just be killed, and they'll just do it. I watched the mass burial something, and it was so painful.
It is. It is. Now let me come to you on this matter. We are just told yesterday on how in 15 months 1,200 persons killed, 4,000 kidnapped, all in Nigeria. And then coupled with what has happened recently. Your take on the statement made by the governor of Benue State?
Okay, it is very, very unfortunate that people in authority have used the insecurity to mock citizens, because I have not seen any country where issues that should be taken with very sensitive issues, they have turned it into political issues. Now, for the handlers of the president, his spokespersons, sometimes when you get to hear their positions about what is going on, and you now ask, where is the empathy, from
no empathy
from people who are supposed to be consoling and telling people what government is trying to do new. Now, we are not in position of sensitive security information, but for Governor Autumn to maintain a particular position for a very, very long time, that's consistently, he's in position of some information that is maybe contrary to what the federal government wants or the presidency wants, because he has been very consistent. He's talking about government unable to, treat the security issues as it's supposed to be. And when he comes in a particular direction, you see the spokespersons trying to defend, and it has gone into, character assassination now, because they're trying to get at him by all means. Now, yes, it is a known fact that we have not treated the security issues the way we are supposed to treat it. But if, just like Venerable have said, when it is about some certain group of people, you see the approach, or some issues, yes, you see the approach differently from human being. So what should we value more? Is it human lives or possessions? So I feel strongly that while I commend what the security agencies are doing, I feel there are underlying issues that have not yet been addressed. It's only people who are privy to have those intelligence reports that are agreeing and disagreeing. And if you allow them into an open debate, these are informations that you don't get to hear from the pages of newspaper. But they know what the issues are.
It's quite unfortunate that this kind of thing is happening in our country, because in a sane and serious country, we'll be flying our flag.
Yes.
Halfway.
Yeah.
That you have 33 persons killed. That should be a national mourning.
Innocent people, citizens.
Innocent people. That should be a national mourning.
Yeah.
But nothing is happening. Life goes normal. It's quite unfortunate that we have found ourselves.
No official statement is even made.
It's as if good for them.
Okay, you brought the issue of reports by the Kaduna State government, and I can tell you that what is going on, the killings going on, is being underreported. And it's not as if I am praising the state government for taking the appropriate action, but I also have praised them for bringing it even to bear. Because if you know what is happening in Niger, if you know what is happening in Zamfara, if you know what is happening in some of these states, so the reports have given us a kind of picture of how rotten or how bad the situation is. So for bringing it to limelight is not enough. So actions need to be taken, serious actions, to be able to see that these things are being tackled. For the harmless people, 33 people, unfortunately, that's the community of my mother-in-law. And some of our family members were affected, and all of that. Now, there is no offense There is nothing.
Nothing.
The place is a very typical village that it's not even motorable. So I can just imagine, the response from security agencies, and it's a very peaceful community. There's never been any issue between the locals and Fulani within that particular community. The Runji community, and where this issue happened, that 33 people, were murdered. So it's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. You losing your loved ones, no provocation whatsoever. You losing your loved ones.
May God have mercy.
No, if I could just quickly add something. Losing loved one is one thing. Seeing that justice is done is another thing.
Yeah.
That is what brings some measure of consolation. It may not bring replacement of who is already gone, but seeing justice done have a way psychological effect on the living, and it makes them to have faith in government. But what has been happening is that these things just happen. You don't see people arrested and say, yeah, these are the people that did this thing.
Yeah.
They have been arrested. They are facing the music. Nothing like that. So, let's go have a kind of a retrospect back to the Owo killing in the church.
Yeah.
Till today, have you really seen these people fish out? What will give the church members, the worshippers in other congregations, the confidence to now worship without fear that they might be hacked down tomorrow if these people are still in circulation?
Yeah.
So these are the things. But when people like that, the government agency go after them, unravel who is behind it, and get these people, at least people, the fear will calm down that these people are no longer in circulation. The people who lost their loved ones, who did not commit any offense against individual, against the state, will have some measure of consolation that at least, even though government cannot replace this very person, the government in power have been able to bring these people to judgment.
Yeah.
So you see, this is why you see people are losing interest in government or governance in the country. People don't know what to do, and we just pray that people don't get to the point where they all resort to self-defense, self-help, which will not be good for this country.
Yeah, that will result to anarchy. Yeah. It's all right. We have to move on. We're trusting God that things will be better. Let's look at the Punch before we look at the trending stories. The Punch is having something, though interesting, but pathetic at the same time. 1,262 Nigerian students demand evacuation. Guess where? Sudan. And then 330 residents killed. This is fiasco to our country.
Yeah.
That our country will not be able to accommodate our students for them to be able to learn and graduate. They have to go to countries like Sudan. It's a fiasco. Now they are demanding evacuation because of the unrest that is ongoing there. What is your take on this issue? When are we going to get it right? So much so that we don't have to, go to a country like Sudan before we'll be educated.
For me, this is a national embarrassment. To say that so number of Nigerians are now studying in Sudan.
1,262.
What can you say is responsible?
Failure in education.
Failure of educational system. Why should somebody want to leave his own country that is supposed to be bigger and more developed, that is supposed to be the giant of Africa? You go to another country where which is supposed to be of lesser state. I'm not by any means trying to
course, it's
reduce
just the
the
truth.
status of Sudan,
Yeah.
but by all means, compare Sudan with Nigeria. Nigeria is supposed to be far ahead, but it's one of the countries Nigerian students now run to also to go and study. Is that not national embarrassment? Why? Because you get admission in Nigerian schools. If you manage to get admission into any institution, you don't know when you are going to graduate. That is what is responsible for this. Today's strike, tomorrow strike, next tomorrow school locked up. So that is why you see these people are going on. And the quality of education, you don't be surprised, and it should not really be a surprise that most of all these smaller countries, some of them, if they want to do anything, they do it well.
Of course.
They do it well. So people are beginning to see the standard of education in some of these African countries is of more quality, has more substance than what they get here. Of recent, there was an interview in the social media where so many youth couples were interviewed. You will weep for this very country. You see that the problem is bigger than what we think.
Because simple questions,
they cannot even respond.
They can't answer it.
That shows to you the status of our educational system. So for me, it's national embarrassment, and I just hope that the country will move swiftly to rescue these ones that are stranded.
Your take on this?
The educational system needs a revolution. We need revolution in the educational system, where educational infrastructures and need to be put in place. You see, for parents, I understand why parents want to send their children outside Nigeria, because for a course that is supposed to last for 4 years, you end up spending 6-7 years and all of that. For infrastructures that are needed, you just need to go to some schools, see how bad the infrastructures are, as well as the quality of education that we are getting, just like Venerable have rightly said. So we need to commit our budget, a very good percentage of our budget into education, and to also try to settle lingering issues that are concerning the academic staff union, non-academic staff union, and all of that. If it requires a public-private partnership to better the educational system, so be it. So the government will need to, find a lasting solution to what will make education work better in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to the trending news, some of our trending news. 2023 elections, proudest achievement of my government, Buhari. The President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired late Thursday in Abuja, described the 2023 general election as one of the proudest achievements of his regime. He added that the electoral reforms occasioned by the signing of the Electoral Act 2022 created a level playing field for all contestants, regardless of party affiliation. Yes, your thought on this achievement, I don't know whether he's referring only to him signing the Electoral Act, because in implementation, we are all a witness to 2023 election. I wonder how that is a proudest achievement of his government.
I hope you have not forgotten the fight that the civil society group, which some of us belong to, have to fight in this country to get this Electoral Act signed into law. Do you know what people pass through to get this thing signed into law? That is history. Now, I saw the headline. The first thing that came to my mind spontaneously, without trying to maybe mock any person or dishonor any person or whatever, I asked myself, if the way 2023 general election went, and the outpouring of condemnation from a civil society group, election observation groups, both local and international, that this election did not meet the expectation of Nigerians, and that it fell short of the standard that is required. If that is the proudest achievement, then the achievements need to be properly interrogated. If this is the proudest of all the achievements, as it is said, the truth is that 2023 election started very well, as I keep saying, but it really ended up in chaos, in confusion. No one should be proud of the outcome of 2023 general election, really. No one should be proud with the way 2023 general election went, with all the chaos all over, with the destruction of ballot boxes and everything, with all the harassment, with all the intimidations here and there. We are proud of that? No. I'm not proud of 2023 general. I'm an election observer, and I've been observing elections all this while. For me, the way 2019, if I compare 2019 general election with 2023, I will even prefer the way 2019 general election ended than that of 2023. Because if you put into reconsideration what the Electoral Act was set to achieve, why the civil society fought tooth and nail to make sure it was signed into law, the way the whole election ended was not expected. If the Electoral Act was followed to the letter, and the proper thing was done, if INEC did not mess up at the end of the day by not, let me use the word frustrating the transmission of a result, I tell you, somebody can come out to say, oh, I am proud, because the outcome would have been so glaring to every person that I tell you, there wouldn't have been any need for any person to be going to court even. Because if the thing was transmitted the way it was supposed to be done, and you can do comparison, once you are defeated, you will know you are defeated. If you win, you will know you won the election. It will be clear. So I think before person begin to make a statement about 2023, whether one should be proud of it or one should not be proud of it, we should allow the court to finish their work. 2023 matter is before the law court. Somebody has been declared as winner by INEC, even though many says it was in a mad rush. Now there are two persons claiming victory. Atiku and PDP says they won. Obi and Labour Party says they won the election and they can prove it before the court. So let's allow the court to do their job, and let's not begin to make this kind of statement, because this kind of statement directly or indirectly can affect the psyche of the judiciary.
Of course.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a political statement coming from the president, coming from the leader of APC. So for me, my advice is, from the presidency down to the local government, let every person keep quiet and wait and see. Let the judiciary, which is supposed to be an independent body and an arbiter in this matter, come up with their judgments. Then we can now say we are proud or we are not proud.
Yeah.
But for the Mr. President as an individual, I commend his body language throughout, the pre-election period and throughout the period of the election. because the body language sent a signal that he wanted free and fair election. He wanted people to contest freely on the same platform without unduly trying to. That is the body language, the picture from the statement he was making throughout the period. That is the signal that we got, because we as election observer do not just look at the election day, we look at the political environment, we look at the statements by key individuals that can fuel crisis or make the environment peaceful. So as far as I'm concerned, I will give it to Mr. President General Buhari that yes, from the statement he was making and the body language, I think he did well. But to say he is proud, or this is how did he put it?
Proudest moment.
The proudest
Proudest achievement of his government.
I disagree with that to a very large extent.
Do you also disagree?
I think I share in the same line with Venerable. To say the least, 25th February was a day Nigerians were expecting to, or were expected to see a turnaround from what they wanted and all of that. Now, the outcome of that 25th February led to the what we saw in the gubernatorial election.
Exactly.
That a lot of people did not come out to vote, thinking their votes were not going to count. So a lot of people felt their wishes have not been met, while in the contest there are people who celebrate and there are people who also have the right to speak their mind. Be as it may, just like Venerable have said, the president or people who seems to be closer to the president lost primaries in their political parties because he was indifferent as far as the primaries were concerned. You go do all that you needed to do. And in all sincerity, I didn't see the president taking side even in the general election. Owing to past experiences with former presidents, you will see them taking direction, and his absence even in most of the campaigns from his political party raised a lot of questions. I think that is either an intentional decision not to be seen to be taking side, but I concur with the position of Venerable.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Now, Lai Mohammed says the federal government does not intervene in elections, and he says the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, refrained from reacting to spectacle at the Adamawa State governorship election because he does not micromanage government agencies. He argued that it was the prerogative of the Independent National Electoral Commission to deal with the infraction by the suspended Adamawa State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Hudu Ari. The president does not micromanage any institution. I don't think that this government has ever intervened in the way the Independent National Electoral Commission conducts its election. How true is this statement? Let me start with you.
Okay, the president's statement suspending the wreck in Adamawa is the opposite of what the Minister of Information is saying. Because if I recall, it was after the Federal Executive Council, was it Wednesday that he made this particular statement, and yesterday the president suspended the resident electoral commissioner. Now,
that is some kind of intervention, right?
Yes, that's the kind of intervention. Now, when you look at the statement from Lai Mohammed, I don't think he's completely wrong. Why did I say that? If we have strong institutions that are working the way they're supposed to work, you don't need the president, just like Venerable started in his opening statement, that you don't need the president or any individual to be able to intervene in any issue. If the institutions are working the way they're supposed to work, people who are saddled with the responsibility to, arrest, prosecute, and do the needful, because these are treasonable offense. It is what the REC did was capable of, creating a huge security breach. And so the security agencies and those who understand the law very well, should have been able to, act immediately without even waiting for the president. Now, those people who are supposed to do that will probably be scared of, carrying out their function responsibilities, because it's an appointee of the president. So what if the president does not share the same view with them? So that's where you see the case of the DSS, when the acting president suspended the DSS boss. When the president came back, he was reinstated. And so there are quite a lot that people, get very skeptical, or people in authority get skeptical in, taking decision, because our institutions are not working the way they are supposed to work. If so person appoints a particular person, so it's expected that he's a powerful person, they might, turn over whatever decision that has been taken, and that's not. It's not supposed to be so. A sergeant in the U.S. police contested for his right. In Nigeria, can a sergeant in the police force, talk at the institution, after being treated wrongly? So because this institution there will protect every citizen, but our institution here will not protect, just as we are seeing.
Quite unfortunate. Yes, sir. Your take on the statement of Lai Mohammed.
My first question will be, why the jamboree all over the world? The Minister of Information will be busy spending Nigeria money, moving from one country to the other, talking about election matter that is pending in court. Why? Why is he coming to talk about, we don't intervene, we don't do this now? What is the meaning of that? If another person was the one going about, a matter is before the law court, and a government, the judiciary is yet to determine what will be the fate of whoever is declared, whoever is claiming victory. But government money is being spent, federal government money, just moving around state houses all over the world. What is the jamboree about? What is that? Is that not intervention? Trying to intervene in the political affairs that is on ground. So, for me, I feel that there are some statements that are uncalled for. Because you are Minister of Information does not mean you must talk in every matter. In fact, if you look at the word Minister of Information, he's supposed to come and inform us, inform Nigeria, educate Nigeria about what government is doing. It's like what my brothers talked about during when we're talking about insecurity. What this man should be busy telling us is what government is doing about Kaduna killings, that will give Nigeria some measure of assurance. What is government doing about Benue? How we are going to get the solution? This is what we want to hear.
Yeah.
This is what we want to hear. Not arguing with individuals. For me, this is argument with individuals.
That is it.
Yes.
He's trying to tackle the opposition on this matter. All right. There is one more insecurity trending story here, which has affected local rice price. And it says that the local rice price jumps by 200%. Rising insecurity in the country import ban and other factors have caused the price of 1 kilogram of local rice to rise by 201.52% in 7 years. This happened despite a multi-billion naira funding support of the Federal Central Bank of Nigeria for the nation's rice value chain aimed at boosting production. Data from the Selected Food Price Watch report of the National Bureau of Statistics, analyzed by The Punch, showed that the average price of 1 kg of local rice rose from 172.74 as of February to 520.84 as of February 2023. Okay, this is February 2016 to February 2023. You see the astronomical rise. Your take on this?
Okay. We are all aware of the inflation rate and the insecurity across states where farmers were unable, to go and cultivate their lands, their farms. Now, when you look at the cost of living today and the cost of the purchase of farm materials like fertilizer, the seedlings, and all of that. Last year, fertilizer was sold up to 25,000 and above in some places. So if you are buying some of these things for the farmers, all of this for them is to make profit at the end of the day. So one will now wonder, with the huge investment government is with the huge investment government said they are putting in the rice sector, why is it that till this moment we have not been able to get kind of relief? Yes, so government must tackle the insecurity before we can have meaningful development, because a lot of people have moved from villages down to the cities, lands that you don't even, or there are some communities that have arable lands that you don't even need much fertilizers, to cultivate. So these people have been moved from their communities, so they can't farm. So where we get local rice without the intervention of people who are doing it in a smaller scale, we don't get that in a smaller scale. It's only people who are doing a larger scale now that have the opportunity, and they're businessmen. So they use that, they calculate the cost of production and all of that, then they add their profit. And who is the at the receiving end? The common man. So government must tackle insecurity, and for fundings that are meant for peasant farmers, let it get to the peasant farmers. Because there are a lot of people who are farming don't know that government do subsidize or intervene in the cost of production and supplies of some needs, that farmers need to, have a fruitful or a bountiful yield. So more need to be done. They should decentralize this thing down to states, local government, and communities, because they are like the local farmers. There are some interventions that they don't have access to, because it's been the information did not, or it's not getting deep down into the real people who need it.
All right, now that the situation is like this, 200 rise, 200% increase in rice production, don't you think it would be better that the government should open the borders up so that more rice can come in, since the aim of closing of the border has been defeated? Because the aim is to ensure that the local farmers are able to farm, and then everything will be locally grown. But now insecurity will not allow, and the price is high. Because when there is scarce commodity, it's normal that the price should go high. the government should lift this ban on the importation of rice so that more rice can come in. People are able to feed. What is your take on this?
Well, anything person's recommending for government now is like, for me, a chase after the wind. What you could not achieve in 8 years, you cannot achieve it in 1 month. So what the government should do is to write their handing over note now, and hand over to the incoming government. Let's see whether there can be new lease of life for Nigeria. Because I'm a realist. I can't sit down here and make a recommendation now again, because we made a lot of recommendations for the past.
Even as yesterday, the day before yesterday, the National Executive Council approved 100 billion naira contracts.
So it's unfortunate, and for me, okay, you want me to be excited with that? No. For me, approving contract worth those kind of figures, for me, is like what do they call it? A takeaway
package.
Yeah, package. It's like takeaway package. You bet it. Are we not in Nigeria? You will never see the fruit of those budget that were made. You will never see the fruit. Those are, for me, severance allowances for people. So it's going to amount to that. Whether it is well intended by the president or whoever initiated this thing, I can tell you, any money being made available at this time now is going to find their ways into individual pockets. They settle themselves and go away. If it was possible for me to suggest now that, okay, let's frozen all government accounts.
Yeah, because this is 39 days to go.
Yes, frozen all government accounts. If we don't want to go under the table more than where we are now. And once this money goes into individual pockets, the way it has always happened when there's any change of government, it has gone in, and they carry this money in such a huge amount that they can use just 5% of it to do the legal battle for the next 10 years. You will not see the end of it, and the person continue to enjoy this totally money
until they die in the process.
But I feel...
yeah, I'm going to take that as your last word. Just hold on. Okay. Let me take your last word, then I'll go to you, because our time is up.
Well, my last word will be, let the judiciary do the needful, and let them do what will make their conscience to be free at the end of the day. Let them do what will make their conscience to be, what will make them to sleep well after they have left office. So that is my admonition, and I want to advise that government should stop borrowing, government should stop approving all those big figures we are hearing now. Instead, everyone should be demanded to account for what he has done. Ministry by ministry, they should be comparing note now and rounding up. This is not the time to be approving figures. Who is going to? How are they going to implement it? When you are supposed to be writing, handing over note, you are making approvals.
All right.
Okay. For me, last word. Governance is a continual process.
Sorry to interject, my brother. Has there really been continuation over the years? That is the point.
So the point for me, we have anti-graft agencies. While every project that have been, signed or proposed is supposed to be for the good of the people, so to speak. So I will say the anti-graft agencies can, put up their searchlight to be able to, monitor closely what this money or how this money have been used. And for the handing over committees, You know, there are some persons from the incoming government and those from the outgoing government. So they should also be very critical about what is going on. My parting words, every life matter. And for the government, they should do everything humanly possible to continue to protect lives and properties of citizens.
All right, thank you so much. We are grateful to Comrade Habila Kayit. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Revered Venerable, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the show. Viewers, thank you for allowing us a space out of your time. Let's do this again, same time, same station next week. Stay safe and remain blessed and have a pleasant day. I am Smart Simon, and bye.